Hello again. I don't know what happened. No idea. Computer just restarted. Didn't appear to be applying any kind of update or anything. Just restarted. Hello, Minnesota Maker again. So yeah, I don't know why it restarted. We'll just round two. Yeah, fight. I gotta go back to my own thing so I can pop the chat out now. Stop. Okay, pop out chat. All right. Yeah, Gremlin's got me. It didn't say it did any kind of update or anything. Just poof, computer restarted. I was like, wait, what? And funny thing was, it did it right as I had clicked save on Thingiverse, so I make sure that this saved. Yeah, I don't want that to be the first thing people see is the hinges. I want it to be the body or the lid. Either one's fine. All right, save and view. All right, dumpster updated. Dumpster update complete. So it's ready for its fourth try. Screen share. Get the chat popped out back on top. There we go. So yeah, I don't know how many people we lost when that happened that just aren't coming back now. Because I know some people will sign into a chat or a live stream and they'll to give someone the view time they walk off and leave the computer running and they're not actually watching, and I get that, and so a hiccup like that happens and you lose those people. The people who are actually watching will sometimes come back. Right? Yeah. Don't wait till the end of the video if you're going to give this a thumbs up, because it could just suddenly go away. All right. So in our first hour today, we talked about the VSV Jeep a little bit and the problem I had with the trunk, but I think I got that figured out now. Then we talked about Mr. Buttram brought up the dumpster and the problems that the dumpster had, and it's something that's been on my list to iterate and try again. I just wasn't real sure how I was going to go about it. Right? Yeah, got to earn it though. Got to earn it. So, yeah, thumbs up if you like it. If you don't, thumbs down. But at least let me know why. There are people who thumbs down and they don't tell you anything as far as why, as far as what you could do better. I mean, I know my content's not perfect. My content's not. But, I just I log on here and share what I'm doing with you guys. And I know there are better modelers, there are better designers, there are much better engineers out there. Is what it is. Or if you don't like me because people have given me stuff, I understand. You know, it happens. Um, Let me think view on that real quick. Okay, thing view is being ridiculous. It's not wanting to work. Does it look like for some reason? Maybe it's just the orientation of it. Oh no, okay, no, that's fine. It's just that's hidden by that. It is sitting on the build button. The lid, sticker, and then those little square tubes there go up, or the square openings there glue down on top of that. Or should. We'll see. I might need to invert that. That'll be dumpster revision 5. Well, I appreciate you guys coming back. You know, like I said, I know sometimes something like that happens and you just go find something else to do. And that's, you know, understandable. Things like that happen. So we got our dumpster done, or ready for testing again. Oh, and that is Donaldus 57. That's German printing nerd, correct? Refunds. Yeah, no refunds. No refunds. It's a non-refundable exchange. No. So we've addressed those things. There's I want to update the. It'll be for another time. It may not be for a stream because it's going to take a lot of time and be very frustrating. I want to take some of the things that I've learned in the process of making these Jeeps and go back and apply it to earlier designs like the truck, like the removable doors. I want to go back and redesign the truck's doors to work just like the Jeep's doors. You know, like all the time you lost watching streams. I guess I haven't been watching streams and being a part of this for that long, so I wouldn't get a whole lot of time back because I think it was around about, I don't know, November or December of last year that I started watching 3D printing streams. All right, so, well, we got another hour scheduled. Notice I say scheduled. We got to restart Blender again because of the unexpected restart. Blender 2.79b. What can we visit now? Or, you know, I even thought it might be kind of cool to see if I can download and install a separate instance of Blender and download the pre-release for 2.8. It's not stable, so they say not to use it for anything that you expect to keep, but it might be kind of nice to play around. parachute pack for Joe's. That might be kind of interesting. You know, I have thought since the modern era figures came along. Since the modern era figures came along, they their web gear. Their web gear is just a flexible plastic that tabs into itself on their back. And I have wondered if I could design like web gear and get reasonable quality prints out of a soft TPU to make custom web gear. But right now, I only have the one direct drive machine, and I know you can print flexibles on a Bowden, but I know it's preferable to print them on a direct drive. So I do, and that's another good reason to keep the A8, because it is my only direct drive. But yeah, I thought, you know, I could probably design that, and then you design it so that it would lay flat, so it'd also be quick and easy prints, because they would never be very high. You know, you just design it so that it lays flat out, and then you'd have to very carefully peel it up. You probably get a, like razor blade under it and carefully remove it, and then clean up any edges that need cleaned up and stuff like that, and then you'd wrap it around a figure. And so you could take a figure like this that has no web gear and put web gear on it, because a lot of their designs that they've been doing since the modern era, they've taken all the details for the character, you know, to make it look like the original character did, that used to be sculpted into the actual torso of the figure itself, and instead replaced it with the web gear, making that detail, and the shirt, undershirt, or whatever underneath is just bare and plain. So you could easily, if you could make, you know, custom web gear designs, totally change the look and feel of a figure, which would make customizing figures easier. Parachute, yeah, you know, same kind of deal. Now a parachute pack, if you wanted it to actually be a functional parachute, and I've got a G.I. Joe that has a functional parachute. I don't have it here with me right now. It's out in the garage in the collectibles box. That would be harder. That'd be a lot harder. Yes, functional. Yeah, that would be so tough, dude. You have to learn to roll and pack a 1/18 scale parachute, and then find a way to fit it in the pack just right so the pack could close. I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, you'd still need, you know, cord and all that to do the strings for the parachute. Um, but along the same lines as the web gear and stuff. Let's see. Screen share. Along the same lines as the web gear and stuff, you know, just designing backpacks and that sort of thing. There's like there's a character called Nemesis Enforcer. He was introduced in the G.I. Joe animated movie in 1987. When they introduced the whole Cobra Law story arc. But, you know, printing like his wings and stuff, wings and stuff like that could be mounted on the back of a G.I. Joe. Because, see, G.I. Joes have this hole in their back. So all you'd have to do with anything that you wanted to peg in there is have the peg designed to fit that hole. So you could do wings and things like that. I don't know. And in a TPU, it would be flexible enough to do the like wings, so that if you were, using them or hit them on something, they wouldn't break. Where he was shot. Probably where people used to stuff things to blow them up with or shoot them with BBs. Which is the thing that makes collectible stuff that's still intact more valuable. Is there are many kids who are more destructive with their toys. Yeah, how's that for a comparison? There's the original Nemesis Enforcer figure that came out, and I think it was 86, maybe 87. I forget. And then they did a modern era update, and when I say modern era figures are taller, you can see there, modern era figures are considerably larger, which is why I've designed my vehicles to work with the modern era stuff. A regular G.I. Joe would look like he was, a midget inside one of my Jeeps. He would look tiny. So, yeah. I've thought 3D printing could solve a lot of those things if it works. So at some point, I'll get some TPU and give it a whirl. So, one thing I've been watching and we're looking at is how to design a tank tread, because I would like to design an interlocking tank tread that could be 3D printable, but not require, like Ivan Miranda's case did, not require putting little pins through each one. Ones that were snap fit, or maybe print in place. So I don't know if that's a pipe dream. But, I was thinking about it the other day, and it doesn't seem like it should be that crazy of a task, because I would think you would just start with a basic shape, something similar to that. The problem is how do you make them so that they're like snap fit interlockable, but not fragile? Like, you wouldn't want it so that every time your tank tread was rolling over something, it's snapping apart or breaking. where you're either having to print a new piece or snap it back together. Reverse hook and loop. I'm not sure I follow, Ben. Okay, once you stop driving. Yeah, don't do it while driving. That would be a bad idea. But I would think if you started with something like this, and then you create a cylinder scale. As I've mentioned before, I'm not an engineer. Rotate 90 degrees on the, nope, not XY. Half sphere and a corresponding dimple. Okay. Might work. Oh, to my stream earlier, Don, my computer just restarted. It didn't tell me it did any kind of update or anything. Just restarted. Nope. Control plus. Control minus. So that had me thinking about something like that originally, and wondering if that would, clip in solid enough to hold. Without, any kind of hinge that you had to actually, or like pin that you had to insert through. But my fear there would be these would be too brittle to snap into there. Give a little clearance. or that this part would be too thin and brittle and would snap. Okay, yeah, I see what you're talking about, because on the tank, your tread, once it's on the tank, is never going to be at 90 degrees. So if you make it so that they insert easily at 90 degrees, and then once they're turned, they can't come apart. That's brilliant trolling, because you should never reach a 90-degree angle on a toy tank anyway, especially. Um, yeah, I get where you're coming from on that, because you would flex, but even going around the sharpest part of the wheel, the bogey wheels, you're not going to get to that 90-degree spot. All right, I will check that out, Ben. I will check that out. Let me see. Which I will probably have to relog back into Twitter, so I'm going to go over here. Okay. I see what you're getting at there too, Ben. All right. But yeah, I really want to explore that idea, trolling, because I think, like I said, when you insert it at 90 degrees, especially if I designed it so that you inserted it from 90 degrees on the outside, then when it snap together, you're never going to get 90 degrees back to the outside again. Good morning, Vince. And good morning, Fernando Pena. So, yeah, I think that would work. Let's get the wheels turning now. The only problem is how small can you make it and still have it sturdy and not break. Hey, the sun is trying to come out outside for the first time in 3 days. Because it's going to be small any way you look at it. I mean, it's going to be, by, engineering rigidity standards and whatnot, it's going to be small and thin. Yeah, absolutely, man. What I may have to do is sit down and design a few different just connection types and then print them small. Test them for movement and strength. And go with the one that offers the most reasonable of both. Because if something's really movable, but moves really well, but is really weak, then it's not going to help anyway. Because just rolling it around on rolling it around on the carpet, it starts flying apart. But then something that's really strong but doesn't want to flex as it goes around wouldn't be helpful either. Because making functional 3D printed tank tread that does not use any hardware and at a small scale presents a challenge for sure. But if I can successfully do it, then that opens up designing 3D printable tanks, G.I. Joe tanks. Because the gears on the wheels will have to fit into something to drive the treads as they turn. All right, Ben. We'll be here for another half hour or so yet. And I don't know if doing something like that is enough. I will have to look at some tank drawings. I don't know, print out and try something like that as an easy thing, and then explore some of the more complicated stuff. I probably need to actually sit down and like sketch some stuff out on paper Designing the easy, the harder stuff. But that's what I said. Maybe come up with 3 or 4 different ways of doing it, and print them all and put them all to a practical test for both strength and flexibility. I just worry about it that at that scale, any parts like this are going to get so thin. Let's go to the desktop and let's save this as tread test 1. And then trolling, you said you have some engineered parts at work that work similarly. That's all right, trolling. I appreciate it, man. I know we lost some people during the Phantom computer restart. But you said you have some stuff at work that works on a similar engineering premise. Thanks, Don. 'Cause I'd be interested if you could get a picture of that sort of. If you could get a picture of that sort of uh, connection point. like, send it to me on Twitter, DM me. Like to see what. So I've got a vague idea, but it's still pretty vague at this point. It's in a landfill somewhere. No. Okay. Because I was thinking maybe something oval shaped, and then you make a slot in the top that the oval will fit through, but then it's circular when it gets in here. So that once you put it, insert it in and then turn it out, it can't fit back through that same slot. But the oval should be able to rotate fully within the circle. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? So the same kind of premise that I'm doing here, but instead put the slot on the bottom side here of the tread. And then you have a circle, and then you make this piece an elongated oval shape. That will fit through that slot as long as it's 90 degrees to it. But then you turn it out, it shouldn't fit through that slot anymore. See if I can modify this to kind of replicate that. Flatten the pin on the front and back to the size of the opening. All right, how about that? So then the oval would slide into there, and then when you rotate it back, it should spin within inside the circle there, but it would only come back out if somehow your tank tread was not wrapped around the wheel at all anymore. It would have to be hanging off if I put it in from the underside like that. hide these. Why? Yeah. Well, not necessarily. All you would have to do is have some sort of spring on like one wheel so that it articulated in and out, and that spring would put pressure on the, because you're going to need that anyway to keep pressure on the tread. That way, as the tread rolls over something and articulates at all, it'll keep pressure on it. Um, Reasonable. The other thing that I'll have to figure out is how to size the geared sprocket that the treads drive on. How to size that properly. That may take a few iterations. Looks more like a watch band right now. Yeah, Ivan's tank is amazing, but I don't think his tread designs would work scaled down to such a small scale. And I don't think it would work having to deal with so many teeny tiny little pins to put in, because I mean, I know he uses pins in between each one of his tread pieces. You need a magnifying glass and needle nose pliers and a lot of patience to do it at that scale. So that's been the big thing holding me back is can I do this in a way that you can snap fit them together without teeny tiny little pins and magnifying glasses and all that. Right. And so that's where I'm at now but I get your idea, and I think I'm on the right track. I could be wrong. I may need to give it more clearance than that. Um, but that should fit through. When at 90 degrees, it should fit through that opening there, and then once you turn it, it should still articulate itself along that hinge point. Maybe with a little slop in it. Just be a matter of seeing if that's too much slop, and if so, trying to widen the oval as much as possible without oh man, yeah, you do your job, man. Do your job. It's okay. I'm in no rush. I'm off work today, so I will play with this a little bit today. I may even take a stab at printing a couple of these links out as soon as we get off the stream here, and test fitting them together and see if they work. And then if so, well, I mean, even if they don't, I'll share it on Twitter. So if you follow me on Twitter, I'll print a couple of these out and we'll test them, and we'll scale it. I'll scale it down pretty small and see if we can make it work reasonably tiny. I need to go buy some calipers. Maybe that's what I'll do today. I need to go buy some digital calipers so that I can take some measurements and stuff. Because I want to make the tread probably about the same width as this tire, if possible. Maybe a little bit wider. A little bit wider. I'm going to take calipers and get a good measurement, good reading for that, and then scale it appropriately, print out a couple, and test it. We'll see. And if it works, then maybe I'll print out a bunch of them, enough that I could wrap around the front edge of a wheel, so then I can work on designing the wheel and where, the size of the gears and everything, and how far apart they need to be to lock in and roll the wheel, or roll the tread. And then get that right, print that out, and I could use, axles just like the ones I've got within the wheel. And yeah. And then you make some smaller wheels that don't lock into the tread. They just glide along the tread, that support it and keep it from sagging in the middle as it goes over stuff. And a mounting system for all those wheels. Some sort of spring mechanism for the one big wheel. To keep tension on the tread. And then, yeah, we'll see where it goes from there. So I think I've got my plan of action, which will start with me going out of the house clothes on, and going and buying a set of digital calipers, and then so that I can appropriately scale the tread and see if it works at that scale. See if it works at all, and then see if it works at that scale. Well, maybe I can print one, not worried about scale first, just to see if the concept works, and then scale it to fit where I want it. I need calipers anyway, because I need to check that roll of khaki brown and see if that's why it's under extruding. Why it's under extruding badly, and my part feels like a sponge, squishy, soft. calipers and a multimeter. You're up in my shopping list. I do need a multimeter. You're right. I guess I can get all that stuff at Harbor Freight, huh? I just wish I've got a Harbor. There's a Harbor Freight here in Clarksville, but people who've never been to Clarksville don't understand. While something may be in Clarksville, it could still be a half an hour drive from one end of Clarksville to the other. And so yeah, Harbor Freight is like 25 minutes away from me. I just wish it was closer. I listen to me complain. Other people have to wait for them to ship stuff, so I guess I could just go over there and take a look, because I'm sure that's going to be the cheapest place to get both things and get those. But what scares me when I walk into Harbor Freight is I'm always afraid I'm going to spend way more than that. Then I'll walk in there and I'm going to see a half a dozen other things I want to come home with too. Yeah, well, but then I'd have to wait for it, and I'm not patient like that. I will, I will overpay for something, not significantly, mind you, because I am still a musician for a living. I will overpay for something if it means getting it now versus having to wait days for it. I'm not patient. Not when it comes to stuff like that. But yeah, so that's what I'm going to do after the stream is I'm going to go get some going out clothes on. Not like going out to the club clothes, not that kind of clothes. Just going out in public. Because right now I'm in sweatpants and I don't do sweatpants walking around town. Um, and go stop by Harbor Freight and give me some calipers. I'll look at the multimeter. Make no promises. I'll look at a lot of stuff on there. I'm sure end up eating up half my day. Uh, disco wardrobe. What vehicle did my wife leave me? She left me hers. I figured she would take mine because mine is the new one because it gets better gas mileage and I drive farther to work than she does. But on days that I have off, she drives it because it's new and leaves me hers, which is okay. I love our Honda Pilot. It's a 2005. Um, it just doesn't make so much sense to drive the Honda Pilot to Nashville, which is a 53 miles one way to the parking garage. When I got the CRV, which gets like 32, 33 miles to the gallon. So anyhow, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Appreciate you guys stopping by. Um, appreciate y'all hanging out with me today. And if you want to support the channel, the links are below. But that's neither here nor there. If you want to download my models early, yeah, before the general public gets them, I am doing that now. We're Patreon folks, patrons have exclusive access initially to the models, but with the understanding that they will go public um, in the future. I'm not. I still haven't set a timetable on that yet, as far as how long, whether it be 30 days, 60 days, maybe 90. I don't know. Before we go public, I want to give the patrons a reasonable value for supporting the channel. Make them feel like the exclusivity lasts long enough to make it worth their while to come and be a part of it and support the channel. And I sure appreciate everything. None of this is ever required. I do this because I love to do it, and I love designing stuff. I love printing stuff, and that's why I do this, and I love sharing with you guys and hanging out with you guys. So none of it's ever required. But it's always appreciated. So yeah, we'll see you guys in the next one. The next scheduled one is Thursday. Tomorrow we'll be hanging out with Mike Whaley over on his channel, and I'm sure I'll pop in there and hang out on the because he does the Google Hangouts stream. I'm sure I'll pop in there and hang out there too. So we'll see you guys later. Appreciate y'all as always. You guys are awesome, and keep an eye on Twitter for my plight with the tank treads. And we'll see you next time.